North Dakota has been recognized as the best state to start a business by Forbes 2 years in a row in 2023 and 2024. And Williston was named the 7th best city in the nation to start a business in 2022 by WalletHub.
Recorded live from the heart of the Bakken, it's the Williston Works podcast.
Welcome to the brand new season of the Williston Works podcast, brought to you by the city of Williston. Now, I'm your host, Anna Nelson, Executive Director of Williston Economic Development. Now, whether you're tuning in for the first time or you've been with us from the start, we're excited to continue bringing you in-depth conversations with entrepreneurs, small business owners, and investors shaping Williston, North Dakota. Now, this is season 7 of the podcast, if you can believe it. But as I'm sure you've noticed by now, there's a few changes. So, of course, we have a new host. Sean Waco is my predecessor. He's now the city administrator. And this is a brand new format. So we hope this will help us bring you timely information about what is going on in our office and in our community. So let's jump right in. So our first episode of this 7th season, and I'm thrilled to welcome 2 of my team members here at Williston Economic Development, Kvande and Brenda Schmidt. Anne and Brenda, thank you so much for joining me. It's great to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you, Anna. It's great to be here.
Thanks, Anna. Fun to try something new.
Absolutely. So let's learn a little bit more about each of you. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at our office? Let's start with you, Anne.
I was born in Williston, moved away in '89, and returned in 2006 when offered a position in this office. Currently, my position focuses on primary sector business development along with workforce attraction.
Wonderful. Great to have you here. What about you, Brenda?
I was actually born and raised in Tioga, and I was gone for a while, and then we moved back in 2006, and I started with the city in the fall of 2015, and I am the finance and grant coordinator for Williston Economic Development.
Wonderful. And just a quick background on myself. I was born in Oregon, moved to Alaska, and then I moved to Raleigh, North Dakota when I was in 4th grade. So North Dakota's home. And then I went to Fargo, North Dakota, NDSU. And from there went to Los Angeles, Oklahoma City, and then back here to the wonderful state of North Dakota. So I've been in Williston for about 4 years. I've worked in the retail industry. I have worked as a journalist, and now here in Williston, I was with the Williston Area Chamber of Commerce when I first, or a year into when I first moved to Williston, and now since September, I've been here as the Director of Economic Development. So thrilled to be here, thrilled to be working with you ladies, and let's jump in here. So before we get to all the questions, let's start with the big one. What the heck is Williston Economic Development? Well, we're here to tell you. So we are a department within the city of Williston, and we're overseen by the Williston Board of City Commissioners. Now, our mission is to facilitate, lead, and promote a vibrant business climate through sound economic policy. Now, to me, this means we're consistently working to protect, support, and grow our business community. North Dakota has been recognized as the best state to start a business by Forbes 2 years in a row in 2023 and 2024. And Williston was named the 7th best city in the nation to start a business in 2022 by WalletHub. So we want to maintain that best of the best reputation that our predecessors, leadership, and community have worked so hard to establish. Now, during this legislative session, I'm tracking 75 bills in 13 different categories. And that doesn't even include the bills the city as a whole is watching. So we're watching those to ensure that we're maintaining local control and that we are keeping business-friendly policies intact. Now, beyond that, our work also focuses on attraction to the region and to Williston. So that means attracting businesses, that means attracting workforce, families, quality of life, educational opportunities, whatever the city needs to make this an excellent place, not just to start a business, but to bring your family, to start a family, to expand your business, to enjoy recreational or dining or shopping experiences, to have all of those amenities and services to make this a home. And we've been working on a new slogan specifically for Williston Square, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it could work beyond that too. Now, I'm thinking we might go with where you want to land because it can speak to so many different opportunities here. And we are excited to start working more with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, or CVB, that's the city's tourism arm, on some marketing efforts because we share a mission of welcoming people here to experience Williston and everything it has to offer. We like to say it's where small town charm meets big city opportunities. So that's a little bit of who we are and kind of what we do. And before we get into all the exciting things we have going on, let's take one step back. Now, Anne, you've been working at this office the longest. So can you kind of give us some background? How did the Economic Development Office get started?
Sure. Our office got started actually in 1990. The City Commission added Economic Development Department. Then they selected a committee to hire the first director. That director started in January 91 with a focus on economic development and job creation. The Star Fund was also created that year through a 1/4 sales tax allocated to economic development programs.
So it has a pretty long and storied history. Fun fact, I am the third director of the Economic Development Department. So it's had some tenure, and we're happy to have you and the history that you've been able to bring with you.
I've actually got to work with each one of you.
Exactly, yes. And we love having that institutional knowledge. So thank you. Now, Brenda, going over to you, you work directly with a lot of our programs. So can you tell us a little bit about how our office supports entrepreneurs and small businesses in the region and what resources and programs are available?
The city offers the Star Fund program, which allows us to participate in several ways with new businesses, either with a small grant or with larger programs with the interest buy down, in which we partner with local banks and the Bank of North Dakota to buy down the interest rate of a business loan. We work directly with the Small Business Development Office, which is housed within our office. They are an amazing resource for area business startups and can assist with setting up LLCs, state paperwork. They also know about state loan programs and things like that, and they are a great resource for area businesses.
Yes, Brenda, I love that you brought them up. Now, for those of you who don't know, they're also housed in our building. So they're a tremendous resource for us, the work that we do, and also for the program. So hopefully in a future episode, we will get to meet them and learn more about what they do. Now, over the years, that program that we just talked about, the Star Fund program, has made such a huge impact. And just one more note on that 1 cent sales tax. So the 25% goes towards the Star Fund, and then the 75% goes towards infrastructure. So really, that has made a huge impact on our community. Now, just since 2017, the Star Fund program has supported about 757 projects and has reinvested more than $26 million into our community. So tremendous impact there. Other impacts our office has had to the region. Now, just in the nearly 4 years that I've lived here, there's been a brand new daycare that was a partnership between the city, a private provider, and Williston State College, which I think we'll touch on more a little bit later. And then, of course, the brand new Williston Basin International Airport, which opened in 2019. Now, mind you, this is the first international airport in the nation since Denver in the 90s. So that was a tremendous opportunity to develop the nearly 800 acres that the former airport, Solon Field, left vacant once decommissioned. Now, that's called Williston Square, which I teased earlier. Now, the city has a vision to make this a live, work, play, shop, dine, stay city center that can serve our growing community as well as those for miles around. Now, I'll touch more on that a little bit later. I know I keep teasing it, so I'll leave it there for now. But of course, the office also played a huge role in the development during and following the oil boom. Now, that was before my time here, so I'm going to kick this one back to Anne. Now, Anne, how did our office help businesses and infrastructure adapt during the oil boom here in Williston?
We'll start by saying around 2008, the oil boom hit Williston hard and brought with it plenty of challenges. The newest hotels and apartments that Williston had were built in the 80s. And even so, they were at full capacity with all the influx of people flooding into Williston. Investors wanted to build, but found challenges in the appraisals. Our office knew that the only way to get the first hotels and apartments built in 30 years was to ease the financial burden. Fortunate for Williston, the state of North Dakota has the Bank of North Dakota. As Brenda mentioned earlier, through the Bank of North Dakota's FlexPace program, Williston was able to buy down the interest on the first hotels and apartments. While this was a grant to the investors, it safeguarded the taxpayer dollars, as the funds were kept in an escrow account. Our office also revamped the Star Fund programs to assist local businesses better. The programs were used for new startups, expansion, signage, rent assistance, and more. We hired a workforce development coordinator, knowing that we had an influx of jobs that were available and people coming from all over the U.S. Through the partnership with Job Service, our new workforce development coordinator was able to help them host in-person job fairs. Those job seekers were oftentimes able to take part in on-site interviews and walk away knowing that they've landed their next job.
And everything that was done during that time still exists in some form today. The Star Fund program that we just talked about, the partnership with Job Service, those job fairs. So that really laid the groundwork for where we are today. And I will say, when I first moved here, and I still get questions about this, like, isn't Williston just this boom town? Like, no, it's so much more than that. And everybody who has been a part of the development up until this point has helped it become a wonderful, family-friendly, and thriving economy. So thank you for sharing that background, Anne. Now, of course, oil and gas, the energy sector, that's a huge factor in our economy. We know that. But there are so many other industries thriving in our region. Brenda, can you touch on some of the industries beyond oil and gas that economic development is actively supporting, especially to help diversify Williston's economy?
This past year, we partnered on a FlexPace program with ND Malting and Hops, which is a group of local farmers that are selling their product to area breweries. It's amazing. The whole system is complex, and I think parts came from Germany. And yeah, it was a really exciting project that we were able to do. Part of that is we assisted on a brewery in town several years ago that uses those hops. So it kind of full circle on that one. We've also granted funds to the NDSU Research Extension Center in Williston, and we have several programs for child care facilities that we have used to expand those services for families.
Yes, Brenda, I love that you touched on both agriculture and value-add agriculture. Now, value-add is something that we are seeing both in the ag and energy industries. So like you talked about the ND malting and hops. So that's an ag value-add, and we'll talk about an energy one in just a second. And we're also seeing some emerging technology such as UAS or uncrewed autonomous systems. Those are drones, and some data center interest, along with our robust small business environment. With all of these industries and projects, the future of Williston certainly is bright. So looking ahead at some of those projects and initiatives, I'm especially excited for Williston Square, of course. Okay, let's get into that one a little bit. So I am so excited about this opportunity. So we are going to be able to make something that the citizens of Williston and the surrounding region are proud of, and that fills the gaps that we have been hearing that our residents really want and really need for a community our size, especially as it keeps growing. So we've heard a plea for retail, especially, and we want to be able to provide that here for everyone's convenience, and to keep dollars local, and to keep attracting people to visit, work, and live here in our great community. So rest assured, our team is working tirelessly to make sure that we have those projects to serve your needs. To date, the development does house Slim Chickens and the local clothing store Genesis. Sanford still has plans to develop a multi-specialty clinic. Bethel Lutheran Nursing Home is preparing to build their new facility out there. Black Diamond Solutions just broke ground this fall in phase 1 of a housing development, as did Williston Basin School District number 7 on their much anticipated new school, aptly named Slowland Elementary, and they'll be called the Aviators. Of course, that's a nod to the former airport. Now, another potentially massive project is a proposed data center on the north end of the city. Now, just for clarification, this would be a data or AI generation and storage as opposed to a cryptocurrency mining facility. So it'll look a little bit different than what we've seen in the region. Now, I don't have too much that I can share on that yet, but it has been such an adventure getting a crash course in that industry and learning more about what it does and what it means for our community. So we'll share more when we can. Now, there's also a large gas to liquids plant project that is developing on the western part of Williams County, Saralon. Now, that is, I touched on it earlier, that is considered an energy value add project. So while it's not directly in our project area, we are prepared to support it as needed since we're the largest city in its service area. So we're watching that very closely. And then with all of these projects and all of this growth comes something that I also mentioned before, the workforce and the amenities and the services that they all need. So we're working to attract more housing developers. We're continuing our work to support childcare providers. And we're working closely, like Anne had mentioned, with job service, as well as with other state initiatives, the county and the chamber on recruitment and retention efforts. And we're working with the high school CTE program and the Williston State College and their workforce training arm, Train ND. So all of these programs work together to make sure that we can grow our workforce from within and support upskilling for current and new employers and employees. So those are just the big projects. There's a lot more going on, and we're so excited what we're working on here in our office. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about some of the exciting community projects that either have happened recently or are in the works. So, Anne, what can families look forward to here in Williston? Is it a great place to raise a family?
You know, it really is. The city of Williston has done a lot, as mentioned earlier, to improve childcare in our area, to grow those facilities and invest in them to ensure that we have enough spots for families looking to go to work for their children to actually have a place to go so they can join the workforce. We have projects like the Williston Water World, a new outdoor water park that should be opening this year. J.E. Dunn broke ground on that last year, and the community builders did a phenomenal job going out and raising the dollars for that facility. Another one of the exciting things is in June 2024, the citizens of Williams County voted to approve a 10-year extension of the 1% sales tax that had been public safety, but now it will be public safety with an element for quality of life. This goes into effect April of this year. 10% of that 1% sales tax will be allocated to the city of Williston for quality of life projects. Estimates of this will be about $1.2 million annually. This can go towards projects like the indoor ice and convention space and still leaves enough money for community projects otherwise.
Yes, I agree, and I'm really excited to see what that can bring to our community and how we can work together with the county to really make sure that we have those quality of life amenities for all this growth that we're going to see. All right, Brenda, I have one more for you. So for those interested in getting involved or learning more, how can local businesses and residents engage with our Williston Economic Development Office?
I would encourage anyone with questions to reach out to our office, visit our website at willistondevelopment.com, and even reaching out to the Small Business Development Office. We also have an entrepreneur group called Brew Your Business that meets at 9 a.m. the second Wednesday of every month in the Keaton Lounge at Williston State College, where we have various local businesses come and talk about their ups and downs of starting their business in Williston.
Yes, we actually just had a Brew Your Business, so we're fresh off that Brew Your Business caffeine high here. So we love that program. We've been able to highlight about 14 businesses at this point because we do one a month, and we just got into our 14th month. So that's been a wonderful program. So another way that anybody can engage with the city as a whole is by filling out our Williston Community Survey. Now, it's really easy to fill it out. It's online. It takes about 10 minutes. You can find the link on our social media pages, or you can go to the City of Williston social media pages. And don't worry, we will keep sharing it. The deadline is March 4th, so you do have a few weeks to submit that feedback, but please do. We really want to know what you want, what you need, so that we can help develop our next strategic plan for the city. All right, Anne, Brenda, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about all of the work that we are doing here at Economic Development. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Anna.
Thanks, Anna.
And thank you, all of our listeners, for listening to today's episode of the Williston Works podcast, brought to you by the City of Williston. Please like and subscribe for more interviews and content. And in the meantime, you can learn more about Williston economic development by visiting willistondevelopment.com. We'll see you next time on the Williston Works podcast.